5:30 on Saturday night, Lakers and Nuggets. That the series starts. Tell me if this is just a oversimplification.
Okay.
If D'Angelo is really good, the Lakers have a chance. If he's not, they have no chance. Because the AD and LeBron of it all, they have to be good or it's over. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to be pretty good.
They will be.
It's AD and LeBron.
Dust settles. Bron's going to have a triple-double. AD is going to have a good game.
I think so, too. Mm-hmm. I think that they're as close to givens as you can hope for. But they could be really good, and they could still lose. We've seen it happen way too many times. I think the wild card in this is Russell.
Yeah.
That if Russell can make shots, and even more importantly, if he can at least hold his own defensively and not be just such a liability on that end of the court that you almost can't. That there's not enough offense in the world to make up for it. Is it as simple as that? Is it just they got a shot if D'Lo's really good, and if he's not, they don't?
If D'Lo's really good, they could still lose the series. So that kind of shows you just the margin for error for the Lakers. And I don't want to look. I know we keep pointing out to what D'Angelo Russell did a year ago. Is a year ago. He averaged 6 points a game in the series.
Oof.
Okay, that's. There were plenty of times in that series where they're like, "You're not even getting in the game."
Yeah.
So I don't think you're oversimplifying it. I think D'Angelo Russell. This is a very, very critical moment in his career, and I think Lakers' view on D'Angelo Russell. It's been cool what he's done. Last 3 months have been awesome. I've not been a big D'Lo supporter, and I'll admit that I haven't. I think he's proven a lot of people wrong. Hey, if I just play my game, I'm an asset to this team. The Lakers need D'Angelo Russell. It's not one of those D'Lo's going to go try to get his points. No, D'Lo, if you get your points, the team actually has a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
If you're aggressive, the team actually has a chance to win the game. I don't think you're oversimplifying it. I think if D'Lo is a real factor in this series, Lakers got a shot. If he's not, tell me where they're going to get that. Tell me who else is capable of giving you 20 and 8 a game.
I mean,
there's nobody on that. Maybe Austin Reeves.
Yeah, but I don't
Reeves.
think
But Reeves, I'm assuming that he's already going to play well. I'm already assuming Austin Reeves is going to play well.
And I think his variance is far smaller. I think that if he's great, he's 20 and 5.
And if he's bad, it's not that much of a difference.
He's 14 and 2.
I'm with you.
I don't think that there's a huge variance there. His defense will be just slightly below average because that's kind of what he tries really hard. He's just not quite fast enough, athletic, whatever you want to call it. He's just not a good. It's not lack of effort. It's not that thing where you see with LeBron. Sometimes you're like, dude, are you going to try?
He's busy. He's complaining to the ref while the ball's going on the other side.
Look, he's LeBron. He's earned the right, I guess.
Game
whatever.
60 against the Wizards.
Fine.
He's going to do
whatever.
what he does. Yeah.
Reeves is trying. He's just not great at it. Russell is the one that it's like sometimes he's not great at it, and sometimes he doesn't even try. Like we got to make sure that his variance is all over the map. He could be the reason they win, and he was unplayable a year ago. So you can't just knock it off. You can't say, well, that's not going to happen again. I don't think it's going to happen again, but it's not off the board.
Well, it's not. And by the way, it's not just up to D'Angelo Russell. I think Michael Malone and the Nuggets know how important he is to the Lakers.
Okay,
as
I want to talk about that, Slade, because you're right. And so if the coach of the other team has a plan to take your guy out, what's the response to keep him in? That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. We were talking about D'Lo and how important he is. And you mentioned, rightfully, I would say, that Michael Malone, the head coach of the Nuggets, realizes what we're talking about. Realizes that, listen, LeBron's gonna be LeBron. There's only so much you can do to stop him.
Hopefully he's not efficient, or AD. Hopefully he's not. But they're gonna get there.
There's not much you can do to LeBron if LeBron's having a night. He's gonna eat you up. Same thing with AD. If AD's having one of those nights, it kind of is what it is. D'Angelo Russell's a little bit of a different story. You could probably game plan a little bit to make life harder on him. Right, especially if he's really going, and or the opposite, if he's really struggling to find a way to isolate him, to find a way to attack him, to find a way to kind of put him on an island and make him do things that he's not great at doing. I believe that Michael Malone is capable of that. What I'm not a true believer in is that Darvin Ham has a counter move to that. is that Darvin Ham has a way to get D'Lo out of isolation, to find a way to get D'Lo going offensively in the event that they put someone on him that he's struggling with. I don't that counter punch to your move, the chess move after your move, the adjustment to the adjustment. I just have seen nothing from him that leads me to believe that he's going to be able to go move for move with some of the best coaches in the NBA. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Let me take Coach out of it for a second, because first it's on D'Lo. Coach will come after. The first portion of D'Lo is, are you going to be the same player that you've been over the last 3 months? Is that, I don't give a flying you know what. I'm going to play my game. And based on the way I play my game, I know if I play my game, it's actually beneficial to the team. I'm not hurting the team. That's number one for D'Angelo Russell. All right, you're going to get a guy. It's actually a perfect move for them. They got a player that's a vet, been in the league for a long time, 2-time champion, and this is what he does for a living. I'm going to go guard D'Angelo Russell. His name's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's a perfect person for that. But I like what you just said right there, because there is going to come a point where they say, cool, we understand how important he is. Now it's up to the counter that you're talking about with Darvin. Okay, that's happening. We know that. I'm going to start using D'Angelo Russell off the ball. I'm going to find ways to use D'Lo as a decoy. And if D'Lo's a decoy, I just got Rui a wide open shot. Like, what you're talking about is completely fair. This is what the elite coaches in the NBA do. And we know Michael Malone is an elite coach in the NBA, and we know Darvin Ham is not. So what your counter move is, that's going to be throughout the entire series, not for D'Lo, but it's good conversation on D'Lo because we know how big of a piece he's going to be.
It's almost like you need LeBron to figure it out.
I agree.
You know, like
I agree.
And by the way, you're asking a guy that's in his 21st season, that's closing in on 40 years old, that's played 80 billion minutes in his life. Hey, by the way, I need you to be the best player in this series. And oh, by the way, can you coach the team while you're at it? Can you find a way to get these?
It's not crazy either because it is LeBron.
It's
not.
Kind of
does that anyways.
So much going on right there that to just be able to take something off of his plate, because I just don't think it's going to happen otherwise. We've talked about it because it's the most obvious example. It took him 50 games to figure out the 5 guys that should start. And it wasn't like it was a new combination of 5 guys. It was the same 5 guys that started the playoff run in the end of last season that put you on that run to begin with.
That's the number one reason why the Lakers got Denver in the first round.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with Sacramento. It has nothing to do with Golden State. It has nothing to do with, losing a couple games at the last week. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with you buried yourself just enough to where you got Denver.
And if your team is the better team, you can get away with maybe a mistake here or there from the coach. You can get away with maybe being a little bit slow to adjust, maybe not calling the right play out of a timeout, drawing up the right play, or whatever it might be. If you've got Jokic and Murray on your team and a supporting cast like this, maybe you can afford to be a little loose with some of this stuff. But if you're the other team, where your margins are virtually zero under the best of circumstances, and you're dealing with one hand tied behind your back because you're outgunned in the coaching department, that's a problem. Look at
the last final minutes of these games.
Exactly.
A lot of that does come down to the coach.
Of course it does. Look at who's, and again, and there's exceptions to all of these rules, obviously, but think about the guys that have been in this over and over and over again, right? You're talking about an Eric Spoelstra. I think everybody understands that not only is he a good coach, he's a very good coach. You're talking about Steve Kerr. You're talking about, go back a little further, Phil Jackson and Popovich, even guys that get some one-off ones like Nick Nurse and Rick Carlisle, Budenholzer. They're looked at as pretty, Budenholzer is kind of in the middle there, but there's very few guys that you look at and say, yeah, I don't know, man. He doesn't seem. Let's use Doc Rivers as the opposite example. He had a team that was so good with Allen and Garnett and Pierce that they won anyway. But he had some other teams that were pretty darn good that blew big leads, and there was never the adjustment coming back the other way. Look at what the Bucks are doing right now. I think they're either 21-20 or 20-21 since he took over.
I think you're right. I think below 5.
Yeah, it's right there, one way or the other, and blown 3-1 leads. It's just. There's motivation. Hey, I'm going to get my guys to play hard. I'm going to get my guys to compete, which is important. But when you get into these series, it's matchups, it's tactics, it's understanding how to draw up a play, how to get the ball in the right guy's hands at the right time, how to get the ball out of the other guy's hands at the right point. And they just don't really do that.
They're going to be in an interesting spot because if the Lakers do well against the Denver Nuggets, like I heard Greg was talking about this a little bit earlier. He came in here and he said, I'm picking the Lakers in 6. And I told him, I said, you can't give me a reason why you're picking the Lakers in 6 other than you're a Laker fan. And I'm not telling you that that can't happen. What I'm telling you is I have to see the Lakers for 8 straight games have shown they are not better than the Denver Nuggets. I could sit here and tell, well, I think this might happen and that might happen. But I think that's more of you want that team to win and less of this is why this is going to be difference change. And by the way, it could change. The first 2 games, if the Lakers get one of those games, we got a little bit of a series. And I think
they get 2, you get a real series.
And if you get 2 in the first 4, right? You come back here and you split. You're 2-2. We got a real series. Now it's just down to 3, and I think that's kind of how you got to block it out.
When's the game 2? Is it Monday?
They'll go Monday.
Yeah,
they'll go Saturday, Monday.
They can get back to LA on Tuesday with a game.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
If they don't,
you don't have a choice.
It's a wrap. But yeah, I mean.
But the ham thing, is interesting.
You know what I've been thinking about since you said it?
Yeah.
You can't give me a reason you think they're going to win other than you want them to and you're a Laker fan. You're right.
It's the truth.
It is the truth.
Unless you walk back to LA and it's 1-1 and I could tell you specific reasons, guys, this is where they got exposed, or this is Jamal Murray is doing this year that he wasn't, whatever it is. But right now I don't really have anything factual that I can give you.
Ask Lee coming up next. If you want to call, 877-710-ESPN. We already got a couple of Ask Lees on the phone. You can do it right there, 877-710-3776. Ask Lee, straight ahead. It's Travis Lee, 7.